Well, this is Pat Walker at Mission Winners. Right now, a lot of people are looking like, man, I don't know the market, I don't know what to do here. And, do we go in? Do we not? Things look volatile. I'll show you the chart of the S&P 500, the spiders. And you can see, yeah, it's flopping around. I mean, it had a good run. It fell. Is this a good spot? I don't know what to look for. It can get really frustrating. And I'll share this with you from a psychological perspective. Once we start getting really frustrated, our rational thought processes can start to diminish. And I'm going to help you here. That's my goal, is to show you past great winners. I want to share something with you. This is a fact. All great stock market investors, all great investors have done a tremendous amount of research on what works. They study the fundamentals, they study technicals, they look at the charts. And there are constant recurring patterns. And these patterns, once you hone your eyes and mind on what to look for, they just jump out at you. And one of the best things you can do is memorize them. Just look for them. By the way, I'm not talking about just a basic cup and a handle. Just simple flat bases, simple flat chart patterns where you can use a simple trend line entry and then look for volume surges through that entry spot. There's how money is made. And by so doing, you're in charge of the situations. You can figure these things out. You can look for them. And it helps you by knowing what works. I mean, knowing unequivocally what works. It also minimizes stress, which helps you think better. It helps you think clearer. It helps you execute better. And I will also tell you this. Does it work every time? Nothing works every time. Except that fact. So then what do we have to do? Is if we buy, we manage accordingly. If it runs up, you can buy more. You can sell some into strength on a good run. But if you buy and it starts to fall hard below your purchase price, you know that you're wrong. I will also tell you this. When looking at charts, I encourage you. Folks, I've been doing this since 1985, 86. I really encourage you. Don't get wrapped up in 5-minute charts. Please don't get wrapped up in day trading. Now, if you do and you're successful, that's fine. That's fine. But if you want to be a good investor and let it work for a long time, put away the short-term time charts. There's too much emotion in a 5-minute chart. What looks like a freaking disaster on a 5-minute chart is nothing but an orderly pullback on a daily or a weekly chart. Remember that. Minimize stress and you will think clear. I'm going to show you a few facts here, all right? This is work that we've done at Mission Winners. I'm going to drag some windows in here to help you. Here's the first one, right there. Focus, it's an insult to read to people, but just go through here. Good earnings, good sales. I mean, good numbers. And you can say, can you quantify it? You darn I will. Industry groups, leading groups. That's a fact. That's not an opinion. All righty? Look for stocks that have positive earnings estimates. That's very important. This is research from years ago from Bill O'Neill and Company. 40 great stock market winners. 87% of them, basically folks, 87%, 90% of them had earnings of 30% or higher before they broke out. How about that? 90% of them. 70% of them had earnings up 50% or higher before the breakout. Take the average of these numbers, alrighty? What are we talking about? You're talking about basically almost 4 out of 5, okay? Or 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 had earnings up on average 40% or higher. That's an edge that you can work with. Sales, 86% had sales up 30% or higher. 63% had sales up 50% or higher. Basically, roughly, should do the math, folks. 70+% of these stocks, 70%, had sales up on average 40% or higher. If I told you that about 7 to 8 times out of 10, a stock that makes a big move has earnings up 40% or higher, now you have an edge. So let's go in and look at some. And I'm going to just enlarge these and bring them on in. Focus on clean and simple patterns. And I'll enlarge this for you. Look at that. Nice clean base. Volume surge there. I mean, it's a simple base, folks. It's just a flat line. Buy right here, volume surge. Nice move. Make it a little bit bigger for you so you can see. Here we go, right there. Let's do another one. We're just going to drag these into the window. Simple downward sloping trend line. Square, it's a max list stock. Spot right here. This was a keyless stock. By the way, every stock I'm showing you was a keyless stock. Every stock that I'm showing we owned. Every one of them. Just marching on up the line. So, oh, it fell down to the 50-day. You own it down here. Give it some room. You got to give it room to trend. Trends pay more than all the wiggles. Remember that, and you'll be light years ahead of the competition. Here's another one for you. Micron. Simple base right here. Look at the volume surge on this breakout. 2 days falling on decreasing volume. Put it right there for you. 2 days falling on decreasing volume. And then it lifts through that clean line on volume. Goes up, pulls back, falls below the 8-day, but closes above it on good volume, and then just marches. Earnings up 999% before the breakout. Now you have an edge that you can use to make money. Upland, right here. I'll make this a little bit bigger for you. This is what we do all the time. Nice base right here. Lifted through. Volume. Off to the races. Volume pickup on this bar, the trigger bar. Volume pickup on the follow-through bar. Look at that. That's a nice move, folks. It's a long base. It's simple. I'm going to keep on going. I'm doing this so that you can train your eyes and mind on what to look for. Then you're prepared. Here's another one for you. Earnings up 112%. Sales up 54% when it broke out right here. We owned this. VIPs owned this. We called this out. It was on the key list the night before. It was in the top 10 groups. That's a nice move, folks, with low stress. Note the bounces off the 50-day. Nothing fancy. If you have to really analyze and look for the pattern, it's probably not there. Here's another one for you. EC. By the way, let's try to stay away from really low price stocks. I like stocks over $10, $12 a share that do volume. Leading groups. Nice move. Stock had either great earnings or great sales when it broke out. Isn't that simple? Look at that base right there. That's easy. A sixth grader could see it and say, oh, it's pretty good, Mom or Dad. You know, Mom, you ought to buy that. Or Dad, you ought to buy that over around $12 a share. 12 to 20? That's good money. You can say, well, that's a lie. You sold at the top. Okay, that's the high. How about 12 to 18? How about just 12 to 18? 50% on your money in a little over a month and a half? That's what we're looking for. Leading stocks in leading groups with great numbers and great bases produce good gains. Okta. And my goal is this. How to find them. What do I do here? Look at that base. Look at the volume. Look at the move. Look at the trend. It's beautiful. Dang near a double with low stress. So I'll share this again to help you. Focus, and this is what we teach. This is what we do. Focus on stocks that are in leading groups that have either great earnings and or great sales and a chart pattern that everybody can see. Why? It increases the odds they'll act on it also. Here's a recent one. Zoom, right here. Look at this. Nice lift. Earnings up 800% when we bought. Right there. Just a nice move. Isn't that great? It's simple. Nothing fancy. People say, well, I need to do all kinds of fancy analytical analysis on this. Why? Why? It's not necessary. Another one for you. Abercrombie and Fitch. Nice base. Now, this ran up and then it pulled back. This is not a huge move. You could say, Why'd you put this on here? The point is still this. It had a clean and simple base, and it did have a lift. You could have sold it here. You could have sold it here, and you still made decent money. That's what my point is. And never, ever let a good profit turn into a loss. This is a recent one from the end of last year. Look at this. Alibaba. Check that out. Make that bigger for you. I'll spread it out so you can see this. There we go. Nice long base. Look at the volume coming into this when this lifted off. 188 up to 220 something. And look at it walk up the 8-period exponential moving average. Here's the 20-day. 20-day simple. It's simple. I can't stress enough. I really mean this. I was there for the crash of 87 and everything else in between. You will find that if you focus on clean and simple chart patterns, it will increase your odds of making money. And isn't that what we're after? Making money. You're in charge instead of somebody else. How about that? Here's another one for you. Right there. Upland. Some of you remember Upland? Look at that breakout. Look at the volume. People talk with their mouths and vote with their pocketbooks. They voted. And again, folks, this is not a brag fest, okay? That's lame. That's immature. No, it's a situation of saying, hey, let's help people. I'll share something with you. We're only on this earth for a short period of time, folks. We really are. And if we can't do things to help ourselves, but also do things to help other people, then why be here? And I hope that really strikes a nerve during this time with COVID-19. We really need to be there for each other. And I'm not trying to harp, but it's very, very important. So I just wanted to share that with you. Show you this one. Some of you have seen this. It's simple. Tesla. Nice shelf. Max list stock. Just moved up to the tune of almost 600 points. Now, I'm not going to tell you we sold all our shares off here. That's a lie. No. But did we sell some into strength? Sure. This was an emotional gap up. And I did tell VIPs, you might want to sell some up here. This is emotional. When you get a big gap like this after an extended run, also notice something. This is a lesson for all of you. I'm going to enlarge this for you. Make this worth your while. Note the slope of this line. It's just a nice steady line up. Note the slope of this line. It's more accelerated. When you get an accelerated line like this, after a longer move like this, the odds are quite high that this is an acceleration move that's going to end and pause for a while. And it did. And it did. We sold some here. We sold some the other time that it came up here. And then when it racked all the way down, we took the rest out and we made good money. And for that, I'm thankful. But again, the issue is this. Studying charts and having rules. That's why I'm doing this, is so that you can see what we're looking at. We're going to do one more here. We're going to do two more. What the heck? This is fun, isn't it? Look at this. Microsoft right here. Last year, November of last year. Look at that nice shelf. And look at it just march. Comes down to the 20-day, and what does it do? It bounces. Just sold some into strength, right? By the way, for most of this move, I didn't even have it on the front page. I wasn't even looking at it. I had a limit alert set, but don't stare at it. You don't need to. You'll let the market work for you, all right? Last one I'm doing here, right here. IIPR. There you go. Nice long base. Volume surge for the breakout. Was in a leading group, had either great earnings and or great sales before it broke out. So what's my point? Focus on stocks that have a clean and simple chart pattern. Does not need to be the cup and a handle. A nice chart pattern that you can draw a line and connect the highs easily. Look for volume surges when it pushes through that line. Buy and make sure that if it moves up, don't let a good gain turn into a loss. Manage the stock. After it's pushed away, just let it work. Let it work. Let it trend. Starts to lose moving averages on pickup in volume, sell some. You see this bar right here? Look at the volume on that bar. It runs up and they take it down on volume. Met with selling. We sold some there. We sold some. We sold some here. You can say, why? Why would you do that? We sold some up here on that emotional gap up. Why? Here, see the slope of that line? That's not sustainable. Okay? Comes down on volume, meanders around, runs up. Note the volume on this bar. These are the lessons we teach. Note the volume on this bar. Is the volume on this bar much less than the volume on this bar? Yes, it is. There's not as much power on this bar than this bar. These are the things we teach. Folks, these are the little nuances that you can learn that this is what we teach to help you be in charge of your investments. Rules to get in, rules to sell some into strength, rules to get out. This whole move never looked at a 5-minute chart, probably never looked at a 10-minute chart. My point is this. At Mission Winners, we teach you how to find good stocks. That's what we're after. And then how to manage them. By so doing, you'll make better decisions with less stress. And if you have less stress, it leads to better decision making. Anyway, I wanted to share this with you. How to do it, how to find good stocks, how to manage good stocks. Isn't that what you're after? And all that does one other thing, helps you make money. We're not doing this for a hobby. So I wanted to share that with you. Hope you're all having a good holiday weekend. Please be safe. Please be healthy. Please take care of yourselves. It's very, very important.
Thank you for watching the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit like. Maybe hit that subscribe button. We come up with new content nearly every day. Also, check out the videos on the right. YouTube recommends the one on the top, and the bottom one is something we thought you might enjoy. See you next time.